Hi guys, today we are going to look at writing a linear equation from point slope form into standard form. Um, with this, we want to use this point slope form of the equation where it is where we have the slope is m, okay? And I apologize for how the writing's going to look. Um, but yeah, we're going to do the best we can today. All right. And then the it's y1, excuse me, it's y equals y1. Uh, I take that back. I am not reading things properly. It is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, that's where we're at now. So the x1 and y1 come from a point on the line. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for this is just any point on the line. There's my undo button that I can fix this. Okay, it's just like I'm there in class, right? All right, so we have our two important parts. This is the formula we're going to use. As long as we have at least 2 points from the line, we can use point slope form to write an equation for it. Okay, so here is the first thing we're going to do. I need to come back over here and turn this back into a mouse. All right, we are going to start with our, here we go. We are going to start with y. Oh, hold on, let me undo that. So I can come back over here. Okay, y minus. Okay, now remember, ooh, hello, why do I have white there? This is going to be our x1 and our y1. And this is going to be our slope, okay? So that being said, we're starting with y equals. So we're going to subtract our y1. So y, it has been a long day by the time I'm recording this, guys. It's y minus 3, okay, equals. And we're going to put our slope in there. So 2 times x minus our x1, which is also 3. Go ahead, throw this up there. Okay. All right. So y minus 3 equals 2 times x minus 3. Now, this is our point slope form. Okay. So from there, in order for us to change it from point slope form to standard form, we're going to go through slope intercept form as well. But the first thing we're going to do is distribute this 2. Okay. So once we distribute that 2, we're going to end up with y minus 3 equals 2x minus 6. Okay. From there, we need to move this 3 to the other side. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. And then we will end up with y equals, see, now I'm going to get that y equals in there. 2x minus 3. This is our slope-intercept form. This is supposed to be an I. All right, slope-intercept form. All right. Before I go too much further, I'm going to highlight this as our point slope. This is our slope-intercept. Okay, those are the two important forms that we're doing. And then we'll come back over here. All right. So now, to get from slope-intercept to standard form, which we've done, okay, we're going to subtract 2x, and make it negative 2x plus y equals negative 3. This 2x has to be positive, okay? So in order to make this positive, we are going to take the whole thing and multiply it by negative 1. We're going to multiply the entire equation, both sides, by negative 1. Okay? That is going to make it a positive 2x minus y. Need to undo that one. Okay. So minus 1y to equal a positive 3. Now we are at our standard form. Okay? And this is our standard form. Okay? So we're going to go through all three forms. On your assignment, you're going to be responsible for the point slope form and the standard form. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and turn that down. All right. Okay. Let's look at example 2. This time we have a slope of negative 1/3, and we have a point at 3, negative 2. Okay, so this is going to be our x1 and our y1. All right. Starting with our y minus, okay, we've got this negative 2 there. So what I'm going to do is put that negative 2 in parentheses. So we have y minus negative 2. Okay, equals, we're going to have our slope times x minus our x1. So our slope is negative 1/3. So negative 1/3. And our x1 is 3. Okay. Now, because of this minus and negative, that could get kind of clunky. We're going to go ahead and rewrite this. That minus and negative becomes a positive. So we're going to have y plus 2 equals negative 1/3 x minus 3. Okay. So negative 1/3 times x minus 3. Okay. So from here, this is our point slope form. Okay. Now we're going to get into slope intercept form by adding, well, first of all, we're going to distribute that negative 1/3, and then we will add or subtract 2 from both sides. So start by distributing that negative 1/3. We're going to have y plus 2 equals negative 1/3 x, and then negative times negative, we will have a positive, so plus 1/3 times 3 is going to be 1. Okay. Now we'll subtract this 2 for both sides. Excuse me. And get y equals negative 1/3 x minus 1. This is our slope-intercept form. Okay. Now we want to go in and change that to standard form. So to do that, we're going to add the 1/3 x to both sides. And then we're going to, after we've done this, we're going to have to multiply the entire equation by 3 to get a whole number. Because remember, our all of our coefficients, well, all of the numbers, the coefficient and the constant on the other side, have to be whole integers. They cannot be fractions. So now we're going to multiply everything here by 3 so we can get rid of that fraction. And the final form of our standard form here is going to be 1x plus 3y equals negative 3. I'm going to fix my equal sign here. Okay, so equals negative 3. All right, this is our standard form. Okay, so that's going to get us into that takes care of if you're given a slope and a single point. Now turn to page 26, and we're going to look at what happens when we have just 2 points. Okay, so I'm going to go to page 2. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, if we have at least 2 points that lie on the line, we can find the slope of the line, and then use that to write our equation. And it doesn't matter which of the points we use to write the equation, as long as we use one of them. Okay. So I'm going to start out with finding the slope. My change in y from 4 to 13, we are adding 9. From negative 4 to negative 8 on my x values, we are adding 4. So our slope is going to be, sorry, I take that back. We are not adding 4. We are subtracting 4. Because negative 4 to negative 8, we're going down, or we're going to the left on the x-axis, but we're going down in value. Excuse me. So we're going to do, our slope is going to be negative 9 over 4. Okay? All right. So remember, it's okay to make mistakes. And I'm sure y'all are going to let me know which ones I made when I get there. Okay? So we're all good. All right. I'm going to use the negative 4, 4 as my x1 and y1. Okay? So when I go into my equation, start with point slope, y minus, we're going to use 4 equals our slope, which is negative 9/4, over negative 9/4 times x minus a negative 4. throw this up there real quick. And we're going to throw in a -4. Now we already have a negative there, and then the point had a -4. So when you are working with these points, make sure if there's a negative in the point, remember there's also negatives in the formula, so minus a negative. This we're going to clean up, and it's going to become x plus 4, so I'm just going to rewrite the equation the way it should look after we've cleaned that up. So y minus 4 equals -9/4 times x plus 4. Okay? So there you go. Y minus 4 equals 9/4 times x plus 4. Just like we did on the previous examples, we're going to distribute our slope. So we're going to distribute that -9/4. And that is going to give us y minus 4 equals -9/4 x. And a -9/4 times +4 is going to be a -9. The 4 in the denominator and the 4 in the numerator here are going to cancel each other out, so we just have -9. Okay? So now, we're going to add 4 to both sides. This is a 4. Okay, there we go. And we'll get y equals -9/4 x minus 5. Now at this point, we have our point slope form right here. This is our slope intercept form. And now we're going to move into our standard form. So we're going to start off by adding 9/4 x to both sides. So plus 9/4 x plus 9/4 x. And we get 9/4 x plus y equals -5. And then the last thing that we're going to do to get it into standard form is we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 4. That way we get rid of that fraction. We only have whole numbers. So our final equation in standard form will be 9x plus 4y equals -20. Okay? So there is our standard form. All right. Last example, we're going to do a line going through -2, 1, and 4, 10. So we're going to start with finding our slope. Oop, wrong thing. Let me change pins here. All right. So -2, 1. Starting with 1 to 10, so our change in y values is a +9. Our change in x values from -2 to +4 is a +6 because it's going up 6 values. And then I'm going to use this 410. I'm not dealing with my slope yet. Hold on just a moment. Let me put my slope over here. So 9/6. I was getting ahead of myself. We need to simplify this. Before we can put it into our equation, we need to simplify it. So 9/6 becomes 3/2 because we can divide both of them by 3. Now, I'm going to use 410 as my x1, y1. Okay, I'm using those because there are no negatives in there. I don't need to worry about them. I can just plug them into the equation and go. Okay, So y minus 10 equals 3/2 times x minus 4. I'm just fill in my slope here and my x1 here. All right, there is our point slope form. We're going to distribute that 3/2 so that now we will have y minus 10 equals 3/2 x minus, now when we do 3/2 times 4, the 4 divided by 2 is going to be 2, and then we multiply that by 3, so we get 6. Okay, so this is what we were doing. 3/2 times 4, it's 4 over 1. Okay, so we can either do 3 times 4 to get 12 over 2 and then get 6, or we can simplify the 4 over 2 first and get 2. So now we have 3 times 2, which is 6. Either way you look at it, that's what's happening with that fraction. Okay? All right. So now we're going to add 10 to both sides. And get y equals 3/2 x plus 4. Okay? We're going to move that 3/2 x to the other side, and then we're going to have to multiply by a -2. And you'll see why here in just a moment. But first, let us subtract 3/2 x and subtract 3/2 x. By the way, this here is our slope-intercept form. Okay, so now we have 3/2 or -3/2 x plus y equals 4. And then we're going to multiply everything by a -2. We want to get rid of this negative. We want to get rid of this fraction. So we're going to multiply by a -2. And that is going to take us to our final equation, which is 3x minus 2y equals -8. Okay? So for our equations here, this one is our point slope form. This is what we started with. We got it down into our slope intercept form, and then we ended in our standard form. Okay? Now, when you're plugging things in, when you're plugging in your x1 and y1, be careful. Make sure you are double checking that you have the minuses, and if there's negatives in there, that you have the negatives in the proper places, like we did on example 3. All right? Guys, your assignment is in your packet. It is on pages 27 and 28. You have 4 problems where you are given the slope and the y-intercept, or slope and a single point, and you have 4 problems where you're just given 2 points, and you have to find the slope. You have a good day. I will see you guys on Monday, and have a good weekend. Be safe. Bye.